Welcome to the final set booster opening before the stream tonight, where I build my sealed deck for the Commander Sealed League in Discord. I'm going to play a whole bunch of Commander Legends Dungeons and Dragons Battle for Baldur's Gate, which I'm very excited about because this set seems sweet. If you want to see that deck build and hear me talk more about the cards and why I'm putting them in my deck, or why I might not be putting it in my deck, don't forget to check out twitch.tv/beardedbogle at 8 p.m. tonight, because that's when I'll start. I'll probably start by opening another set booster just for fun and wait for people to drop in. But yeah, then we'll build a sealed deck, which will be a new experience for me because I've always built 40 card regular sealed decks and not 60 card commander ones, so who knows how it'll go. And if you want to join the Sealed League and build your own deck to play with us on Spell Table, then check the link in the description to join the Discord. All right, let's get started. There we go. Neat and tidy, he said. And then fucking up, what the hell? What's this? What is the list? Oh yeah, 1 in 4 set boosters contains a card handpicked for Magic history. Okay, so that's actually interesting because... Hello, soldier token. That's actually interesting. So that does... I think that means that set boosters are the only type of booster that have cards from the list, which means we won't have to worry about Baldur's Gate cards showing up in our sealed pools, which isn't an issue, but at least, we don't have to worry about that. We also have a cool dragon and a soldier token, my dragon, and a swamp. The sudden sinkhole was surprising enough, but nothing could have prepared you for the ancient city that was hidden underneath. Oh. Whoa, that's a cool looking dragon. Ganax, Astral, I'm assuming Hunter. Buddy, your wing's in the way. Ganax, Astral Hunter, legendary creature dragon, a 3/4 flyer for 4 and a red. Whenever Ganax, Astral Hunter, or another dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a treasure token. Choose a background. Another very cool either dragon commander option, or maybe just a regular old ramp option. Dragons are in blue, red, and green, so you can have a variety of different backgrounds with this and then figure out what kind of dragons you want with it. If you pick a commander like this, you won't be able to do a 3-color dragon deck, so that is something to keep in mind. I think there's only one commander option for a 3-color commander deck with the dragons as a theme, but any 2 will do, I suppose. I'm guessing red-green is probably the strongest, although blue-green also seems quite good. This seems sweet. 3/4 flyer for 5 is not great, but it's also not the worst. And the fact that you immediately get 1 mana back and potentially way more, yeah. And some very cool art also. Run away together. This is adorable art. Choose 2 target creatures controlled by different players. Return those creatures to their owner's hands. It's an instant for 1 and a blue. True love means always knowing what's on the other's mind. Yeah, because it's a mind flayer and a goblin? Well, I wish them all the best. This card is fine. It can definitely be devastating because it's an instant to mess with combat, or, get rid of some blockers so that you can push in for the last bit of damage. I like very much that because it's an instant and it has to be 2 different players, you can absolutely fuck with combat that you're not even a part of. So that's kind of funny. Yeah, you can play this. Young Red Dragon. Look at him having fun in his lava bath. It's creature dragon, 3/2 for 3 and a red with flying, and it cannot block. That's fine. Blocking, obviously, you would prefer that it could, but that's fine. And then Bathe in Gold is the adventure side, an instant for 1 and a red to create a treasure token. It's interesting. It's Not amazing, but I think this is definitely playable even in not a dragon deck, just because it's a 3/2 flyer that attacks very well, and you can have a little bit of ramp beforehand. Like technically you could just turn 2 Bathing Gold, turn 3 this, just get it a turn earlier, and that's probably enough. At that point you've paid 5 mana in total, I guess, to get it on turn 3. It's very aggressive, but definitely doable. Yeah, I like this. This is a good dragon. Breath Weapon. An instant for 2 and a red. Breath Weapon deals 2 damage to each non-dragon creature. Cool. As a common too. That's really sweet. Yeah, this is going to clear a lot of blockers. I think you can play this even if you're not in a dragon deck, just as a board wipe for small stuff. The fact that you can also play it after combat, after, damage has been marked on some bigger stuff is very useful. The fact that you can play it as an instant, so you don't have to do it on your turn, is also very good. Yeah, I think you should definitely play this, unless you're the deck that basically only has creatures with 2 toughness, right? Like if you are specifically the deck that has a bunch of small stuff, then maybe this doesn't really work in your favor. But if you have a couple of big creatures or a bunch of dragons, it's already worth it. This is a very good removal. Obviously it's not going to kill everything, but it is going to kill a lot of things. Chardalyn Dragon. This is definitely filler dragon. Artifact creature dragon, 4/4 flyer for 6. Yeah, this is not good, but if you need another dragon, or you are 3 colors and you desperately need something to cast because it's colorless and it can be any type of mana, this is just good filler. You're definitely going to play this. You're not going to be super excited about it, but it's not bad. Like it does the trick. If you're not in dragons specifically, this is not the finisher you want. I don't think it has enough power and toughness for that, but it also, again, it does do the trick of beating in for damage, so I don't think it's a horrible idea to play this regardless. Like I said, it's not very exciting, but it is definitely a player in any deck. Cool art. Sharpshooter Elf. An elf ranger creature, star 2 for 2 and a green with reach. Sharpshooter Elf's power is equal to the number of creatures you control. When Sharpshooter Elf enters the battlefield, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature with flying and opponent controls. So if this is your first creature or only creature, it's a 1/2 with reach that does 1 damage to a flyer. That's not great, but if you're in a deck that has a bunch of creatures or even makes a bunch of tokens, this can take out dragons, which is very cool. So yeah, depending on the deck that you're in, if you're ramping up to a bunch of big stuff and you won't have a lot of creatures on the board, maybe don't play this. If you're playing against an opponent that has a bunch of token flyers that you have trouble dealing with, then of course dealing 1 damage to one and then having a blocker that survives to block all the others is not bad. So yeah, I would definitely play this, but the more creatures you have, the more token generation you have, the better this becomes to deal with a Chardalyn Dragon or something even bigger. I like it. Cool art too. Giant Ankeg. It's creature, insect, 8/8 for 6 green. That is giant. Looking at the art, I mean, it is big. I didn't expect an 8/8. 8/8 trample, very important. 8/8 without trample, not really exciting. Ward 2, and other creatures you control have trample and ward 2. Now 8 mana is nothing to sneeze at. That is a lot, especially in sealed, even still in commander, but this is very good. This is the finisher you want, right? Like a couple of creatures on board, play this, they can't kill your creatures anymore, or at least they would have to pay a lot of mana, and then everything tramples over, and this is just, it's an 8/8 trample. It's giant. That's definitely the top end of a big green deck. If you can ramp up to it, even better. I might be biased because it's a giant green thing and I love giant green things, but it's sweet for sure. Ugly, but sweet. Passageway Seer. Creature, Tiefling Warlock, 2/2 for 3 and a black with lifelink. When Passageway Seer enters the battlefield, you take the initiative. At the beginning of your end step, if you have the initiative, put a +1/+1 counter on Passageway Seer. This is an amazing card for the initiative deck, and honestly, probably also just a great card if you're not specifically focusing on the initiative. 2/2 lifelink for 4 is not good, but a 3/3 lifelink for 4 makes more sense. And since you play it, get the initiative, go to your end step, there's really no easy way for your opponents to take the initiative away from you. Before that, you will definitely end up with a 3/3. And then if you get to keep it, it just grows bigger, you gain more life. If you get to blink it, you get the initiative back, or maybe even trigger it twice in a turn. Yeah, this is great. It's interesting to see an initiative creature in black. I kind of was expecting white-blue, but I guess blue-black also works. We've seen one commander, I think, in the past that cares about the initiative that was blue-black. Yeah, this card is sweet. I really like this. I mean, I like black creatures with lifelink anyway, but yeah, this is cool. Ooh, a Planeswalker, eh? Elminster, legendary Planeswalker. For 3, a white, and a blue, you get a 5 loyalty Planeswalker that has a static ability of whenever you scry, the next instant or sorcery spell you cast this turn costs X less to cast, where X is the number of cards looked at while scrying this way. It's +2 loyalty ability, draw a card, then scry 2, -3, exile the top card of your library, create a number of 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature tokens with flying equal to that card's mana value. Elminster can be your commander, which I would imagine you would want him to be your commander. Cool art, cool Planeswalker. 5 loyalty for 5 mana is great. The static ability is obviously very cool if you're playing a bunch of instants and sorceries, which you would want to do in white and blue and with this commander. But even if that doesn't really do much for you, the +2 setting up the perfect -3 is just really great. Having your commander take some damage for you so that you can stay alive is great. Fairy dragon creature tokens are at least going to be able to block anything that comes Elminster's way, unless it's got trample to keep him alive. Yeah, this is obviously not like you play this and you win the game, but for a commander Planeswalker, this is really cool. I think you'd be happy to be in a deck with Elminster, for sure. Tavern Brawler. A background, legendary enchantment, 2 and a red that says, commander creatures you own have, at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. This creature gets +X/+O until end of turn, where X is that card's mana value. You may play that card this turn. Very sweet. So, yeah, a commander that wants to attack, getting more power is great. And then this basically being sort of red card draw in the sense that, you don't actually draw it and you have to cast it now, or at least that turn. Otherwise it just goes away forever. But still, you get an extra card, which is really cool. Setting this up with some blue scrying effects to make your commander even bigger. So if you're also in blue with your commander, or I mean, red makes a lot of treasures, so you'll have the mana to cast whatever it is. Remember that you can play that card this turn, means that you can play lands off of this, which also means don't play a land out of your hand before you play the land that you exiled with this, because it does count for your land drop. Yeah, cool. Very cool background. Very aggressive, obviously, but there are plenty of commanders that we've seen that want to mix it up. Yeah, green, red, white, red. Hell, just double red. Like, put an aggressive red commander with this background. Build a very attacky red deck. Seems cool. Hardy Outlander. Another background, 1 and a green for a legendary enchantment that says, commander creatures you own have, whenever this creature attacks a player, if no opponent has more life than that player, another target creature you control gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is this creature's power. Cool. I mean, I don't think it's amazing because your commander has to attack for it, but it doesn't get the buff. So, would suck if you sort of have to attack your commander into almost certain death just to get this to trigger. But yeah, it's not that difficult to get a second creature on the board. So your commander attacking plus giving something a buff is really good. You'd want to pair this with a commander that has a bunch of power. Like if you pair this with a 2/2, it's not that exciting. but there's definitely plenty of options where this would work very well. Background a clock over here. Cultist of the Absolute. Legendary enchantment background for only 1 black. That's really cool. It being so cheap. Commander creatures you own get +3/+3 and have flying, death dodge, ward, pay 3 life, and at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature. Interesting. So makes your commander really good, but has a downside. Pairs really well with commanders that easily make tokens, because then you always have sacrifice fodder, right? Because if there's nothing left to sacrifice, you will have to sacrifice your commander. But giving a good commander +3/+3 flying, death dodge, and making him very annoying to kill. Not impossible, because people can pay 3 life, probably easier than the mana that a ward generally says. But they can't do it forever, so requires some work. Don't just put this as a regular background because you think it's a rare. It makes your creature really cool and it's cheap. That at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature is a real cost. So build your deck around being able to do that. Black-green tokens, black-white tokens, black-red sacrificing effects. So there's plenty of ways where this could work, but it does require some work. Firbolg Flutist. I was watching a Commander game on YouTube, I think, where I want to say Aaron Hansen from Game Grumps was talking about that Firbolg is a weird name for a flutist, and it's not his name, it's his species. A Firbolg is it's that, I guess. But this one plays the flute. It's a creature, it's a giant bard, because Firbolg is not a Magic the Gathering creature type. It's a 4/4 for 4 red, which is not good, but it has enthralling performance. When Firbolg Flutist enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature you don't control until end of turn. Untap it gains haste and myriad until end of turn. Yeah, this is insane. There's plenty of cards that have this effect, and they're generally always good in Commander, because your opponents will have good creatures. So what you do is, yeah, you take the biggest creature or the most annoying creature, attack it into a player that you know can kill it or block it dead. They will do that happily because it's not their creature. They're not getting it back. So you can definitely just get rid of it. But then the myriad trigger makes it so that for each opponent you get that creature. So yeah, get something with cool enter the battlefield effects or an amazing attack ability, and this is really cool. Play this in a red deck, basically. It doesn't really need any sacrifice effects or whatever, but that would obviously make it much better if you can do all this and then before giving it back, sacrifice it, so that you could get some extra value and they don't get their creature back. But this card's really cool. Good job, Firbolg. And a Blur, an instant for 2 and a blue. Exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. Draw a card. Yeah, so put this in the Flicker deck. Put this in a deck that focuses on that specifically, but you can also put it in a deck if you just have a bunch of really good enter the battlefield effects. Obviously, pairs really well with the Firbolg Flutist, that's for sure. Because then you get 2 creatures, or you can get another one later. The fact that it replaces itself, draw a card, makes this worth your while, because otherwise probably wouldn't do enough. It's a little expensive for a flicker effect, but that's because of the draw card. Yeah, just make sure you have enough creatures with good enter the battlefield effects, and you're set. And if you have the specific commander that cares about flickering or blinking, and then yes, put this in there, because it's sweet. And that is it. If this was a draft, there are a few good options. This is a good pack, actually. So I think you would probably pick Elminster, just because he's so cool, and Planeswalkers are really powerful. If you don't want to commit to those colors, I think you would pick Firbolg Flutist, because it's just a really good card. But I can see someone making an argument for Cultist of the Absolute, Passageway Seer, or Breath Weapon. I would probably pick either the Flutist or the Passageway Seer. But this is all, I mean, I would pick Elminster. Elminster's cool. Planeswalkers are very powerful and good. I don't see me passing them anytime soon. Like, if you end up not being in this, then sure, you've wasted your first pick, but it's not the end of the world. And if you do end up in these colors, then really good card. But of course, we're not doing a draft. We're doing a sealed, in which case this does make me go towards like black-red sacrifice. It depends on what else is in the pack, and I would like to make Elminster work, but besides the blur, there's not a, and Runaway together, I guess, there's not a lot that works really well with Elminster in this pack. But then again, I mean, if you want to go black-red sacrifice, we don't technically have a commander yet. We have a good background. I guess Ganax could work, but I'd probably like something else, because this focuses way more on dragons specifically. Okay. Well, thank you so much for hanging out. I might do this more, but for now, check out the twitch.tv/beardedbogle stream tonight at 8 p.m. European time, whatever that is in your own time zone, where I do this way more. I will open the final set booster that I have, and I will open 6 draft boosters and build a 60 card commander deck with them. Yeah, check that out. Give me a follow. And let me know if you want to see more of this, if you disagree with any of the opinions that I have, and if you have an idea for another booster that I could open for another set you might be interested in. Yeah, I like doing this, so I'd like to continue to do it. And don't forget, check the link in the description for the Discord if you want to join our sealed league. There's about 7, including me, about 6 or 7 people now committed to joining, so that's very exciting. We can always have more. Bye!